Hola a todos! Hoy vamos a hablar del pretérito. That's the preterite tense. Alright, so first of all, we're going to be looking at what it is. The preterite tense is a form used to describe completed actions at a specific point in the past. Note that I highlighted completed actions at a specific point in the past because I do not want you to confuse it with the imperfect tense. In fact, I'm going to leave the link to a video that I created comparing the preterite and the imperfect tense in Spanish, because even though both of them refer to actions done in the past, they're used in different ways. Alright, so now we're going to be looking at how the preterite tense is formed. Spanish verbs are divided into three categories: AR, ER, and IR. So there are three types of verbs in Spanish: AR ending verbs, ER ending verbs, and IR ending verbs. To form the preterite in Spanish with regular verbs, remove the AR, IR, or ER and add the appropriate endings. Alright, so before we move on to the endings, let's look at the pronouns. Yo means I, tú means you in an informal or familiar sense, él means he, ella means she, usted means you in a formal or polite sense, nosotros means we, vosotros means you all in an informal sense. Note that the vosotros form is mainly used when you're interacting with persons from Spain. Otherwise, it's not really used, but it's useful to know. Ellos means they, masculine, or when there's a combination of males and females. Ellas means they, feminine. Ustedes means you all in a formal or polite sense. Alright, so let's look at verbs ending in AR. Yo he, tú haste, él, ella, usted, o, nosotros hamos, vosotros hastéis, ellos, ellas, ustedes haron. Verbs ending in ER and IR, thankfully they are the same. Yo y, tú iste, él, ella, usted y yo, nosotros himos, vosotros histeis, ellos, ellas, ustedes hicieron. Ojo. Ojo means be careful or watch out. The first person singular, yo, third person singular, él, ella, and the second person formal singular, usted, preterite forms have tildes, and tildes are written accents on the final vowel. A tilde can change both the tense and subject of a sentence. Note, a tilde can change both the tense and subject of a sentence. I realize that tildes are often overlooked, but we cannot allow this to happen, because it could change the entire meaning of a sentence. Example without a tilde. Paso los días mirando la televisión. I spend the days watching TV. Note the pronoun and note the tense. With a tilde. Pasó los días mirando la televisión. He or she or you, formal, spent the days watching TV. Look at the difference between the subject pronoun and the tense. Ojo. The first person plural, nosotros, endings for regular AR and IR verbs are the same for both the preterite and present tenses. Context clues such as adverbs like siempre, always, and ayer, yesterday, can help you figure out if a nosotros form refers to the past or present. Note that this is for AR and IR verbs. It says nothing about ER ending verbs. Now, example. Present tense. Mi familia y yo vivimos en los Estados Unidos. My family and I live in the United States. Hace 5 años vivimos juntos. We lived together 5 years ago. So note that hace 5 años would be the context clue so that you could figure out that it's referring to the past tense. Alright. Now let's look at some situations with common regular verbs. Alright, so let's look at AR verbs first. Hablar means to talk or speak. Yo hablé con mis superiores. I spoke with my superiors. Llamar means to call. Ella llamó a sus amigas anoche. She called her friends last night. Llevar, to carry or bring. Ellos llevaron el coche destrozado al taller para la reparación. They brought the wrecked car to the garage for repair. ER verbs. And the first one listed here is deber, which means to have to, must, or should. Tú debiste ayudar a tu hermano con su tarea. You had to help your brother with his homework. Next, comprender means to understand or comprehend. Yo comprendí claramente las instrucciones. I clearly understood the instructions. Next, correr means to run. Usain Bolt corrió en las Olimpiadas por Jamaica. Usain Bolt ran for Jamaica in the Olympics. Note that the third person singular is used because Usain Bolt could easily be replaced with the pronoun él in Spanish and he in English. Alright, IR verbs. The first one listed is existir, which means to exist or be. El mundo jamás sabrá que vosotros existéis. The world will never know that you existed. So this sentence could most likely have been stated by an older person to a group of young persons, telling them that they should chase their dreams or live passionately so that persons will know who they were. Alright, next one, ocurrir, which means to occur, happen, or take place. La investigación ocurrió ayer. The investigation took place yesterday. Recibir means to receive, accept, or get. Get is pretty informal, but yeah. Ellas recibieron alabanzas por dar trabajo a las personas del barrio. They received praises for giving employment to persons from the neighborhood. Alright, now we're going to be looking at some common irregular verbs, but this time we're not going to be dealing with situations, just conjugations, so you'll be able to recognize them when you see them and be able to apply them when you need to. First one is estar, which means to be. This refers to be when used in a temporary state or when it's referring to location. Yo estuve, tú estuviste, él, ella, usted estuvo, nosotros estuvimos, vosotros estuvisteis, ellos, ellas, ustedes estuvieron. Ser, which also means to be, but it refers to a permanent or essential quality. Yo fui, tú fuiste, Él, ella, usted fue. Nosotros fuimos. Vosotros fuisteis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes fueron. Venir, which means to come or arrive. Yo vine. Tú viniste. Él, ella, usted vino. Nosotros venimos. Vosotros vinisteis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes vinieron. Tener, which means to have or possess. Yo tuve. Tú tuviste. Él, ella, usted tuvo. Nosotros tuvimos. Vosotros tuvisteis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes tuvieron. Hacer, which means to do or make. Yo hice. Tú hiciste. Él, ella, usted hizo. Nosotros hicimos. Vosotros hicisteis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes hicieron. Poder means to be able to. Other words, to can. Yo pude. Tú pudiste. Él, ella, usted pudo. Nosotros pudimos. Vosotros pudisteis. Ellos, ellas, ustedes pudieron. Note briefly that the same conjugations in the preterite tense for ser are the same conjugations for the verb ir, which means to go. Alright, SOS. That's it. I hope you learned a lot from this video. See you next time. Adios.